Welcome back, guys. We're in the hangar. We're going to be talking tips and tricks to help you in the hangar.
My name is Christopher. I've been a commercial aircraft mechanic for 3 decades. I started in general aviation and always wanted to fly, but I got that chance several years ago and earned my private pilot license. I'm single-engine sea and land rated with a high power and tailwheel endorsement. Now I'm sharing my passion in hopes it will inspire others to pursue their dreams. So I invite you to take a seat and ride along with me as we look at the world from above.
Welcome back. We're in the hangar today, and 15 tips to make working on your airplane a lot easier. It's actually started as a top 10 list, and then it slowly grew to 12, and now it's up to 15. So these are 15 tips to make your life easier when working on your airplane. Tip number 1 is good quality lighting. You can't fix what you can't see, so a good flashlight or floodlight is essential to good work. I really like these Nebo flashlights. They're bright, compact, and have a clip that attaches to the brim of your hat and a magnet on the base. This makes it for hands-free operation. The second tip is a combination. It's a technique of tugging on the safety wire and doing a barrel roll. And with the help of Greg Oliver and his club airplane, we'll do that demonstration right here. I'm just going to do it real quick. That little tug keeps it right up against, and I keep pressure on it as I do that first wrap, because I want to put that first wrap right up next to the bolt, like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and rotate around, and then just like that. So I've done 2 motions. I've turned in a circle, and I've gone from palm down to palm up, and that gets that super tight up against the bolt there. So I guess I just wanted to clarify kind of what this action is. It's a rotation of the pliers around in a circle and pivoting it around the axis of the... So a good way to demonstrate this is, now I've done up hand, down hand, and now we're doing like vertical. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swing this around in a circle, and then I'm going to curl my hand around. So it's going to be like that. And that little action is putting torque into that last little wrap. And now that, I mean, I could probably play a tune with that. Tip number 3 is to use tire talc and isopropyl alcohol. You roughly want to mix about 2 tablespoons of tire talc with about 8 ounces of isopropyl alcohol in a spray bottle. You clean off the area where you have a suspect leak, and you spray that mixture on that area. Once the isopropyl alcohol evaporates, you'll be left with a fine film of the talc, and magically your leaks will show up, hopefully. Alright, tip number 4 is to use your speed handle when removing panels off the airplane. Speed handles do less damage because you can get a lot more downforce and a lot more torque. As an additional tip, you can use some valve grinding compound on the end of your screw bit, and it will help grab the screw a little bit better. So that one's free. So what else is free is subscribing. So I can tell that 90% of you are not subscribed to my channel, and it would really appreciate it if you could help me out and just click that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, doesn't change your notifications, unless you ring that bell to let you know when the next video comes out. So please subscribe. Now number 5 goes along with the last one, and this sounds a little counterintuitive, but if you have a very tough screw that you can't get out, try putting a little tightening force on it. A lot of the times gunk and corrosion gets on the threads and locks those screws in place, and it really helps sometimes to kind of just give it a little torque pressure. So giving a little tightening force can help break up those threads, and you'd be surprised, they come out pretty easy. It works. Tip number 6 is to use your box end wrenches before using the open end. And the reason for that is because the box end distributes the torque around the fastener better than the open end, which under higher torque will spread open and you'll strip out your fasteners. If you're working with tubing, use a flare nut wrench. These are a little bit thicker, and so they resist the spreading open of the fastener, and on the very end that allows you to go on the tubing down to the B-nut to tighten it up. So box ends and flare nut wrenches. Gotta use them. Well, you don't have to use them, you just should use them. So tip number 7 is for torquing your landing gear wheels. And as I thought about it a little bit more, it could be applied to a lot of other applications that require roller bearings. But the premise here is that you want to tighten the wheel higher torque than your final torque while spinning that wheel or that bearing. What this does is it helps seat the bearing, and while you're rotating the wheel, that will evenly distribute that torque. Then you back off the nut just a little bit and then re-torque to the final specification based on your application. So always consult your manuals for that. Yeah, that's it. Alright, lacing cord with a cinch knot versus zip ties. I see you cringing over the thought of trying to figure out how to tie this, and you want to reach for the zip ties. Well, don't. I'll show you an easy way to make your wire bundle jobs look like the factory did it. This is oversimplified and exaggerated. However, I'm using a broom handle and paracord just for the visual demonstration. A spool of lacing cord should last longer than your flying career, and it's much cheaper than zip ties. Take the loose end of the spool, this is called the tag end, wrap this over the bundle twice, keeping the tag and the line ends in your left hand. Hold these ends just as I have here because it's important when you get this down. This will make you go faster. With your right hand, grab the loop with your index finger, cross the tag over the line end and pass it through the loop. This will place a cinch under the loop, and when pulled tight will lock in place. Simply tie a square knot on top and snip the ends to make little bunny ears. We're up to number 9 now, and this one isn't so much a tip or a trick, it's more of a mechanic hack. So if you ever happen to use threaded bits for drill bits, reamers, or even countersinks that normally go into your angle drills or what we call a pork chop. This is a offset. So if you have these kind of drill bits and you want to use them in a normal drill motor, so a hack to use is if you have some of these turnbuckles from your flight control cables, you can turn these into what we call a suicide. It's a way to adapt your threaded bits into your drill motors. So one side will be left-hand threads and the other side will be right-hand threads. So you want to make sure to find the right threads. No pun intended. No, that pun's intended. I meant to do that one. But how you tell the difference on your turn barrel, there'll be a little ring around the left-handed side. That's the one you want to go into the drill. And then the drill gets screwed into the suicide, to which you can chuck up into your drill motor. Alright, number 10 is continuing on with safety wire. And safety wire is not just for nuts and bolts. Here are some examples. Hoses and ducts can also be safety wired, and legally. Some typical installations are pneumatic and exhaust systems, like turbochargers. Number 11, on low pressure hoses, I use a tool called a clamp tight. This is a very handy tool for making clamps around hoses, and we'll do a demonstration here for you. So for this demonstration, the safety wire should go doubled up around what we're safetying about 2.5 times. So we're going to take the loop end and take the free ends up through the loop. Once, and around a second time. Split the two free ends. So this next part, the tool has a little notch in the end of it. That notch is going to go into the loop, and the free ends are going to come around these two arms. a couple of times across the tool just to make sure that they stay nice and snug. So what you should end up with is something similar to that. Then all we need to do is take the wing nut at the very end of the tool and crank it down. And as we crank it down, we just want to tidy up these safety wires so that they're nice and even and next to each other. Once we get this to the desired tension, what we're going to end up doing is taking the tool and flipping it over that loop. What this is doing is pulling those tag ends down across the loop to lock them in place. We loosen up the tool. We come in about a 1/4 inch on either side of those tag ends. Cut the tool loose. And just kind of mash down these ends. And there you have it. Alright, number 12 is using masking tape before applying your sealant. You may think that you have a steady hand and that maybe it's too much of a hassle. However, the tape makes perfect lines. And people won't think that a 5-year-old's working on your airplane. And continuing on, number 13, make your sealant look its best. After you've applied your sealant, you want to use either liquid soap or dish soap diluted in water. After spraying down the sealant or applying it to your finger, you can smooth out your sealant without it sticking to your fingers. You can also use isopropyl alcohol. However, it makes your hands dry out, so you want to make sure you use gloves. Number 14 is a sheet metal trick. Ever wonder how to get your corners on the repairs to look so consistent? Well, reach into your pocket and pull out a quarter. Trace around that corner and you have a really good guide for making your corners look really nice. Alright, so we've almost come to the end. This is tip number 15, and it involves your copper gaskets for sealing up your spark plugs. A lot of people just throw these away, and you're actually throwing away money. So you can actually reuse these by heating them up with a propane torch and a pair of needle nose pliers. You can heat these up cherry hot red. After you throw it in the water, it'll come back looking something like this, but it'll be much more malleable and it'll seal up your spark plugs. And with that, once you anneal your spark plug gaskets, you'll be able to use them over and over again, saving you, well, quite a bit of money. So, yeah, what are you doing? Sweeping. I'm filming. Wait. Somebody's got to clean up this hangar. Come on. Yeah, well, I'm done now. So, anyway, may all your flying be good flying. It's not going to sweep itself, clean up by itself. Somebody's got to do it. Come on. Hey, whatever she told you, don't throw anything away. Yeah, right? I know what she said. Don't worry. Bye. Go do whatever you got to go do. I'll take care of this. Tell me what to do. Nice barrier between your finger when you smooth out your feeling. All right, number 5 goes along with number 4. Tightening a tubbin. Tightening a tubbin. Sometimes the fasteners get corroded or get gunk in their threads.